All right, here we go, folks. It is December 1st. We are doing Feather Touch. Another one by Smita Toke. This one's clearly a representational, a feather looking pattern. So you'll start with I don't know why this has to go this direction. You couldn't draw it that way. It shouldn't make any difference. But anyway, you have a circle and an arc, right? And then you just do an aura around that one, around that circle. And then you do another one with more of a leaf type shape and add the rest of this stem. And then number 4 is here in the middle to put some lines and around the outside. And this is where you could go all crazy with it, which is probably what I will do because, you know, it's an organic pattern. And then she's got it filled in there with black. Just fill in the whole thing and leave a little bit of a sparkle so it looks like that. That may not be the look that I end up going with. We'll see what happens. And then here is her sample. There's a couple things that I myself personally don't think I will do on mine. I'm not sure about these lines in here, these center lines right there. Mostly because I feel like it gives me too much of an eyeball kind of a look, and I don't know if that's what I want. And then I'm not sure if I want to fill it in all dark like that. So we're going to give this a go and see what transpires out of it. You never know what's going to happen when I start to draw. My pen has a life of its own. Let's see. Pen. I am going to have my first... I may have, I will probably, compositionally, have 3 of them. Have a big one coming here and have 2 smaller ones going that way. Is most likely what I'm going to do. So I'm going to put the center dot about here on this one and bring it down like that. And then it has another circular shape like this. And then this is the stem here with a leaf-like shape here, like so. Okay, that's your basic pattern. And then you add the featherish bits to the outside. I'm going to turn my tile so I can do those. And if you lift your pen while you're doing these feathery bits, instead of making a more deliberate line with a start and a stop, it will look different than if you have the starts and the stops. I'm going to go ahead and make these all different lengths. And some coming from the same point and some not. Like that. I like it more wind blown, so to speak. the pattern that's the sample has it more controlled. But you know, it's not me. I'm more of an out of control sort of drawer. No, not really. It's not really out of control. I just like, I really gravitate toward movement, and that just really speaks to me like that. So I think I'd definitely rather do that. But I'm not sure about this whole thing here in the middle, unless I don't really want it eyeball looking. But if I go this way and kind of give it some movement, oops, went out of the little circle there. Then it looks more like, yeah, that's better. I think I want to do it like that. Looks less like an eyeball and more like a feather by having these not going like specifically around like that, more outward. Does that make sense? Okay, so I'm going to do another one here. Make that center circle a little bigger. Up and around like that. And then I'm going to go ahead and do these kind of organically. And then outward. These are fun. Put as many as you want, you know, it can be a thicker or thinner. But if you lift your pen as you're drawing, rather than stopping, you get a different look. Let me put my little sample page here. This is one look, and this is a different look. You see how that looks different? I'm doing the second one here for these feathery things. I'm making it nice contact at the beginning and then kind of pulling up with my pen as I draw so that it gets thinner and more wispy. Since I'm doing this with this more wind-swept kind of look to them, that kind of goes with that. It gives me that feel. And then I'm going to do one more right here, maybe not quite so far up. That one got a little cattywampus, but oh well. Okay. Just kind of going for it here. Okay, and then I think rather than filling this in, I think I'm going to go ahead and put another pattern in there. It's kind of what it feels like it wants. Yeah, it wants some tipple or printemps or something in there. You could fill this with anything. And I may do 3 different patterns in the different feathers. But rather than fill it all with black, that just, to me, it wasn't speaking to me. I don't mind having some contrast in my tile, but just that much black just wasn't what I had in mind. And then I can fill that in between the little dots. So I can get it darker, just not completely black, that's all. Something like that. I like that. I like that look. I think over here I'm going to also do circles, but I'm going to do more spirals. I think I still want it filled in behind. Yeah, that's the look I want. This is so much fun. You guys having fun? I hope you're drawing along. I hope that I inspire you to pick up your pen and draw along with me, even if you never show it to anybody else. Because the whole point of this is really not the finished product, the artwork at the end. The whole point of this is to take your drawing, your patterns, as you're repeating them over and over, it puts you in a place that it's kind of hard to describe if you've never been there. There's a reason it's called Zen Tangle. It puts you in that Zen place. It puts you in the place of, excuse me, of meditation. And I'm just doing these daily prompts. I'm not really doing them as entertainment. I'm doing them because there are a lot of people who have a hard time figuring out from the drawing how to do a pattern. And some of them, I will totally admit, some of them, and you've seen me do some of them that they're not Zen at all. They don't put me in that zone. They're too hard. I have to think too much. And you really want to not think. That's the whole joy of the patterning, is once you've figured out how to do the pattern, you can stop thinking. You can just do it. It's kind of like being on autopilot. You know, like when you drive home and you don't know how you got there. Yeah, that's kind of scary, but because you were in the zone. But that's where you go. You're functioning. I'm drawing, but at the same time, unless I'm talking to you, I go into this zone where I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing. I'm just doing it. Excuse me, I needed a drink. I think for this middle one, I've got these circles. I think I want something with straight lines or straighter lines. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to do like a knight's bridge, which is basically just a grid, and it doesn't have to be straight. As a matter of fact, it might be better if it's not. Yeah, see, I'm getting into that place then it makes it difficult to talk, which is fine. You know, I don't have to be in a place where I can talk. But what I want you to know is that, you know, the final product is not the point of this. It really isn't. And if you haven't watched my beginner videos, I talk about this a lot, how the journey is the point. The joy is in the journey. It has really nothing to do with the final product. And if you end up with a tile you really like and enjoy and appreciate, so much the better. If you end up with a tile that just doesn't speak to you, that's okay too. Because the point is, did you enjoy the journey? It's kind of like, let's say you decide to go out for a Sunday drive, for example. Okay? You know the old concept of a Sunday drive? My husband had grandparents that would do that. Just tell the kids, let's just jump in the car, we're going to go for a Sunday drive. And the kids never knew where they were going to end up, you know. But sometimes Grandma and Grandpa didn't know where they were going to end up. They would just take a drive and, you know, let the kids decide, okay, we're at an intersection, are we going to go right or left? Are we going to go straight ahead? And every time they would take these drives, they would end up somewhere different. And you never knew where you were going to end up. And sometimes you ended up in a really not the best part of town, you know? And sometimes you ended up at a really cool place that you've never been before. But the point and the joy that they had when they were taking these Sundays drives is not the place where they were ending up. They didn't say, you know, we're going to drive to Disneyland. And then the whole point of the journey was to be at Disneyland. That wasn't the point. The point was you got in the car and you took a Sunday drive because you wanted to have the journey. That's what Zentangle is the journey. And if you end up at Disneyland, cool. Best day ever. And if you end up, you know, at Skid Row, well, that's where you ended up. That might be where you needed to be at that moment. You know, there's a point in the journey. The joy was in the journey. You know, if you end up on your Sunday drive and your kids steer you right into the neighborhood of your ex, you know, might not been where you would have chose to drove, right? Not that I have an ex, but you know, I'm just saying. In case my husband's listening and wondering, who the heck is she talking about? You know, I really don't. But, you know, should your kids end up there? Yeah. That's not where you wanted to be. But did you have fun with the kids while you were getting there? Absolutely. So the point is the journey and not the destination. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm babbling along because sometimes I make no sense to even myself. But the point is was the journey fun? If the journey was fun, it doesn't matter where you end up. It really doesn't. If you end up right back home again, well, that's even better. Might not have been where you planned on being, but that to me is even better. Let's see, this one was called Feather Touch. There's my feather touch. And this was my journey. And it looks nothing like her journey. I mean, it does. I followed her steps. And then I made them my own. And my journey and her journey are two different journeys. And that's okay. Because I enjoyed my journey. And I brought you guys along with me. And that's the only point of doing these videos. It is really not to teach you how to do the steps, even though that's kind of part of it. Most of it is inviting you along in my journey and encouraging you to make your own journey. That is the point of doing these. And if and when I ever get tired of the journey, or if I ever decide that I am no longer traveling down this path, well, then I'll be done. But for the moment, I'm still going. Can't believe it has been, let's see, all of July, August, September, October, November. 5 months. Been doing this for 5 months. That's a lot of drawing. Every day. I don't draw every day. You guys know that. I draw a couple of days a week, and I do all the 7 days in 1 or 2 days. But still, that's a lot of 30 to 45 minute drawings. It's a lot of them. And I wouldn't be continuing to do this if I didn't enjoy the journey. So I just encourage you to pick up your pen, draw along with me, and enjoy your journey. And you guys have a really blessed day today, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye.